Hey, lick my plate, you dog!
Those things is dangerous. You're liable to get hurt.
Let me ask you one question. Are you having fun? Because I promise you, you and I are going to have some fun.
Oh, no. Show me what I fear, so I don't fear it no more.
And get that thing off my cutting board.
You should watch The Substance. It really, I was nearly going to swear there, but I think you need to keep the swearing for at least 5-10 minutes before the robot picks it up.
Yeah,
on YouTube. Whatever. Come on in. It's cozy in here. It's warm. It's the autumn. We've got the heating on. It's lovely in here. Come on in.
Have you put the heating on? Have you broken that?
No, good lord, no. I've got a little heater next to me. I'm also scared of my copper pipes. I'm very scared of the pipes bursting, so I'd rather the electricity do the work.
Fair enough.
The Substance. I'm kicking it off. The Substance rules. The Substance is my top horror film of this year.
Oh.
I'm going to say this to you, and you may have seen my story on the socials. By the way, you can find that on the Dreadcast on Instagram, TikTok, and X. I did say Brian Yuzna would be proud. We have covered a Brian Yuzna film on this illustrious show before.
What is this illustrious show for the audience, Tom?
Welcome back to the Dreadcast, one and all. My name is Tom. This is Aidan.
Hello.
We are professional horror talkers.
Yes.
Talkers, yes.
Professional horror talkers.
Yeah, not reviewers. No.
No.
Talkers.
Just the talkers.
Discussioners, if you will.
Just the discussioneers. I like it.
That's the intro. So back to The Substance. Yes, Brian Yuzna. What film of Brian Yuzna did we cover?
I don't know.
It was your pick.
But I don't know people's names. Go
Society.
on. Enlighten me. Oh,
now what type of film is Society?
Because I am googling The Substance now. Because as I was saying earlier, it's crept up on me. I've not heard anything about it, but it seems to be an extreme body horror film, Tom. Just like what That Society is.
Society, yeah. You can find that episode right here. It was our 50th episode spectacular.
The shunting commence.
Oh, the shunting did commence. The Substance, I saw the trailer for The Substance, I think maybe when I saw Maxine, or maybe another horror film earlier on in the year. And the trailer
I've got a cup of tea, by the way.
Woof woof. I've finished my coffee here, thankfully. And it is 8:45, so
good.
Time. So the Substance trailer is actually, it doesn't give a lot away, and it's one trailer I would say look at because it's actually a really cool trailer. Mm-hmm. It's really vibrant, really in your face, and that's what hooked me on it.
I'm just looking. I've just got it up on Google now, and I'm liking this this pink sparkly swimming costume on the poster. It's quite a vibrant.
Margaret Qualley
picture.
She is a very attractive young lady. She was also in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. If you've ever seen that, it's probably the most famous film I know her from. She's also a film called Maid. But
I have seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
She was one of the Manson girls, the main one that Brad Pitt was talking to.
Oh yeah.
But she is in that, as is Demi Moore, who is superb in the film, and
that's who it is. Dennis
Quaid, for the freak that he is great in this film.
Mm-hmm.
I really hope you get to see it. It may finish its run soon, but you'll find it in some other means.
Yeah,
I cannot recommend this film more.
Stuff something somewhere soon.
I love this film.
Cool. We're in for a good couple of weeks or a good month for horrors.
Telling me.
We?
I mean, this is going to be I mean, I've already started writing the list for our end of the year when we've, like we did last year, where we're like, right, got to watch 10 films at least that we have missed throughout the whole year. So that's going to be the busy end of the year film watching. But you've got, obviously Terrifier 3, Heretic. There's the one, I can't remember what it's called, one with Halle Berry. Very good.
Yeah, I can't remember. I feel like just recently I've been bombarded with several trailers and been like, like, oh wow, it all seems to be dropping on the same day, if not, the same week, or certainly if not.
It's the same with video games. October for video games is always a nightmare when everything comes out.
I guess it's that. Well, it's probably more so with games than movies, but that Christmas cash in.
But yeah, The Substance. I'm not going to say too much about it. All I will say is, it's my current. We haven't seen Terrifier 3, but at the moment, this is my current film of the year. Actually, not just horror film. It did have the cliche that apparently people walked out in the last half hour. Now, and we've obviously now heard that from the UK premiere of Terrifier 3, where we were already warned months ago that the opening of Terrifier 3 is worse than the bedroom scene of Terrifier 2, and apparently people are walking out, people have been sick. It's a cliche that's been done for nearly 50 years or more. The Exorcist had it.
I just don't believe it. I mean, I probably do believe it as far as The Exorcist went, but like now it just seems to be a lazy way of drumming up interest in a movie. Like, people were sick and people walked out. Like, were they really? Because
in the third installment of Terrifier 3, you're not going to get any, let's say, random moviegoers going to see Terrifier 3. No, what's this about?
Exactly.
You're not going to get that. You're going to get the uber fans that want to see the gore and the disgusting depravity.
But and as we've discussed before, they know what they're getting themselves in for. And as we've discussed before, I think as a horror fan, it's easy to get desensitized to things. So like, really, what is there that's so shocking for people that have seen, well, even just the other two Terrifiers to go, oh no, that's the line. Yeah, that's too much. I need to walk out. I just don't believe it. I think it's nonsense fluff to get people in to see it.
It will work.
It will work, but as you've just said, people that were going to go and see Terrifier 3 were going to go and see Terrifier anyway. I dare say there might be a small fraction of people that will go, oh crap, I better quickly watch the first two now and go and see that because my interest has peaked. But like, it was probably already on your radar if you're a horror fan and you like the other ones.
I mean, there was the bedroom scene in Terrifier 2 is gross. It's absolutely disgusting. It's very well done, but there are certain moments in that where I even was a bit oh no, like that's actually quite gross because of how well it's done. And I got that with Saw, but I can still handle the gore. I know what I'm going in for.
Yeah, it's not going to make you walk out, is it?
No. And apparently...
That's foolishness.
Apparently there are reports of the end of The Substance, people were walking out. Now, after seeing The Substance, I can kind of understand. Because, and more so for The Substance, because it's its own film, and it really doesn't give that much away within the trailer, the marketing, reviews, that the last half hour of the film really is very I'm really trying to tiptoe around this. Okay, like we said with Terrifier, you know what you're getting, right? With Terrifier 3, you know what you're going to get. It's mostly blood and guts. Substance, I knew it was a bit of body horror. I didn't realize it was capital letters in bold, underlined body horror. Okay, I didn't realize there'd be a shunting sort of scenario. Okay, if you watch Society for the first time and not known, I don't think you're going to expect a shunting coming.
No. There's nothing that gives that away. So I mean, that's as we said in that episode. It all happens in that final portion, doesn't it?
So yeah, I can't recommend it anymore. I hope you get around to watching it. I think you'll enjoy it.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
Everything about it is just so well done. I've got a couple more things just to bring to the table before we move on.
Let's have it.
From season 3 has started again. I cannot recommend From anymore. From is such a great show at the moment. It is horror lost.
Mm-hmm.
It is the simplest way to put it. It's still bleak. It's still great. Yeah, check out From. Yeah, I think it's on MGM Plus or Amazon or Pirate Bay, somewhere like that. And lastly, for me, got a nice delivery today.
Oh yeah,
new edition from Arrow Films. We got the lovely 4K collector's edition of The Exorcist 3.
Oh, very nice.
Lovely. And you know it's a good one when you can barely read the back because of the amount of special features.
Nice. I saw you were tweeting about Exorcist 3 earlier, so I figured there was something.
That's a coincidence.
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah.
I figured it was like, oh, something's happened that's reminded him about this.
But yeah, I think someone put up a appreciation post for Brad Dourif, and I was just like, yeah, his role in Exorcist 3 will always be up there, underrated. That's me for horror related. How about yourself? Anything to bring to the table?
Nothing huge.
Any news on Evil Aliens 2?
There's nothing on the radar yet.
Keep me posted.
Nothing huge. But as I was saying, just talking about upcoming releases and such, I did happen to see the trailer for Salem's Lot.
Oh, so did I. Yeah,
which is another 11th of October release, which I think is the one that I was thinking of. Yeah,
it looked. These films, granted the context is all different. This is about vampires. Let's say It is about spooky clown, but they all look like they're from the same film visually.
Mm-hmm.
The effects, the way the CGI is composed, everything about it, the jump scares, the acting, it all feels like they're from the same universe, the same jump scary looking horror film.
Yeah. We've also got a UK release of Starvacre, which is some folk horror loveliness with Matt Smith, Doctor Who, and it's about an archaeologist as well. So I've got even more invested interest in that one.
Don't know what he's talking about.
Based on a novel, I believe. I've not got around to reading it. Heard reasonably good things about it. So
Starvacre.
Starvacre. Yeah. I don't know what the reasoning behind that title is.
Starvacre. Ah, yes, the 2023 film.
Yes, it did come out in 2023, but the UK cinema release is
really
was this year. Yeah,
6th of September. Wow, that's a long gap.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was like a film festival release kind of thing, and then I guess just looking for distribution. So yeah, that came in. I think it's not. It only got a limited run, stuff like that. But it's one that's been on my list, so looking forward to checking that out at some point. But yeah, not a lot else really. Been kind of busy, so just
what happens.
Plodding on.
That's what happens. Well, I'm sure you've been busy watching movies in a certain universe that we will be discussing this entire month.
Yes, I did. I watched the one for today, which is a good start.
It's not actually a good start, but we'll get it out the way.
No, it's not. But there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot of ammunition. Is
there?
I think so.
Okay, cool. Okay.
There's a lot of stones to throw at this movie. We are talking about Leatherface 2017.
We are. Just before we do get into it, I just want to ask you a few questions. I just want to put the spotlight on you and ask you a few questions regarding. So, a while back, you were going through the Texas Chainsaw Massacre films.
Yes, true.
Sorry, all I can think of the lie detector test from The Simpsons now. It's like
you said there was a spotlight. I was feeling a modicum of pressure.
Okay, do you understand how this works? Yes. Boom. Have you got a hot date tonight with the Sears catalogue? So, you were working your way through, but I think it was for your partner's sake. Rather than...
Yes. Yeah, we were.
Have you personally seen every single one?
I thought I had, but I hadn't seen this. And we didn't actually get around to watching it. So when I watched it the other night, well, I say that, it felt like it was a completely new movie all the way through until right at the very end. So unless I just caught the tail end of it somewhere,
Okay.
I didn't feel like I'd seen any of it. But yeah, we did. We were watching them.
Yeah.
And we got so far and then stopped, and it just happened to be that this was going to be the next one that we were due to watch. But all the others,
including Texas Chainsaw 3D.
Yes.
Yeah. Where our main girl says, "Do your thing, cuz."
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a film. Yeah.
It is a film.
Okay, cool. So that's good. So because I don't know. I mean, I think when obviously I did my top 5 earlier on in the show's life, and I noted, and I've said many times before, the original is my favorite horror film of all time. Kind of obsessed with it a little bit. I would have all the props here on the show, but I'll do that for the next episode. And I believe for you, the original is in your top 5 as one of your favorite films of all time. And I think that's fairly acceptable because we're a bit biased, but it is one of the greatest films / horror films of all time.
Yeah.
It is. It's a perfect horror film. And not one of the /sequels, shall we say, has even matched it. Matched it.
No.
I will, slight spoiler, I will go on to say, I think the remake, 2003 remake, which we will be covering this month, is as close as it can get to installing the fear and terror that the original tried to do, but it's not that close. It's kind of close.
It's acceptable.
For the most part, all the films vary in tone and production and acting and quality. So I don't know if you've ever checked out the timeline.
I've seen a couple of graphics of it.
I've got you that
previously. Let me see if this is the one that I've seen before. Yeah,
I made this.
Oh, you made? Oh, but
made this.
You must have sent it to me before then.
Probably,
I think I've definitely seen this before.
It's ridiculous. The simplest timeline in the whole franchise is really the remake and the prequel to the remake that came out after. Because they're in the same universe. They've both got Arlie Emery. I can never pronounce his name properly. The amazing sheriff, the actor that plays him. He's from Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah.
Arlie... R.L. Emery. Yeah,
Emery.
He's incredible. So you got Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake and then the beginning. There we go. Every other film is its own sequel / or prequel to the original. So we've got number 2 is a sequel to 1. 3 and 4 are both sequels to 1, but they ignore each other. Remake and its prequel have their own timeline, as we just said. 3D is a sequel to 1 that ignores the other films.
Yeah.
Leatherface, today's film, is a prequel to 1. So it is in the same universe as the 74 Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Which I'll come back to in a minute because there's points to that which don't make sense. And the Netflix film, which we did cover, which you can find here, which is horrendous. The Netflix is now kind of like the new 2018 Halloween, where it's like, oh, this is the new true sequel.
The legacy sequel.
The legacy sequel to them. Because they brought Sally back and it's all that jazz. But it's now the true sequel to the 74 Texas Chainsaw. That's insane. Like, people give a lot of shit to, say, the later on Hellraiser films or Leprechaun, but they follow on.
At least there's continuity there. But I guess with a couple of exceptions, the majority of films there are essentially trying to reboot it. It's just reboots on reboots, isn't it?
At least with 2, it really does carry on because it's got the same cook. They've kind of moved on from their house to like the underground sort of lair.
Yeah, it's like I think it's almost like they've had to go on the run and
yes,
they've moved, on to another. Yeah, they've got a new hideout and they're carrying on.
But everything else, 3 and 4 are basically the same. They're like a new hick family. I mean, we've done 4. You can check out 4 here. It's amazing with Matthew McConaughey turning it up to 11. Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw 3, we will also be doing this month. We're going to be doing, say, Leatherface today. Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 with Aragon. And we'll be doing the remake and the original all in October. But yeah, the timeline, I don't know if you could call it a timeline. I don't think you can. It's the franchise, the series.
It's I guess it's the franchise is probably the best way. It's like because everybody's had a stab at, like you say, you've got 2 films there that are their own thing, just with the same setting. I suppose the Rob Zombie Halloween and Halloween 2 of the TCM
kind of similar
world.
Yeah, you're right.
Not a comment on the quality or anything like that, but just in terms of it being new versions of of the film.
That's a good point.
And then you've got everything else basically just trying to link back to the original because the original's the best one. So they've gone ignore everybody that's like got gone ignore everything else. It's the original and then it's us. Yeah. And everybody's tried to do that and it hasn't really worked.
It's wild. And then you look at it as well and you could talk about the I've lost my image. The titles. There's only so many iterations of a difference in title you can really do. Yeah. So if we go I'm gonna have to specifically say this. The original, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Number 2, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2. Works fine. Number 3 is called Leatherface, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. Surely the Leatherface bit should come after the 3, like as a subtitle.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, Leatherface. Yeah,
Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Next Generation. Okay, they got rid of the 4, but the 4 has been replaced with a subtitle. That kind of makes sense. Yeah. It's also not called it's called Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Then we get...
that point they cottoned on that everybody just drops the anyway.
Then we get the remake, which is simply the same as the original title, and the prequel to that, same again, but with the beginning. Simple, done. Then we get Texas Chainsaw 3D. That's during the height of 3D.
Yeah, we're dropping the massacre.
We haven't got time for okay? We haven't got time for it. And yes, you're right, we got rid of the massacre.
There's no massacre. It's just about a chainsaw. It's a Pixar venture about a lovable chainsaw.
With little googly eyes. This summer, one lone chainsaw.
Wonder what the tools in your shed get up to when you're not around.
Pixar presents Chainsaw. Then we get today's film, which is Leatherface, but it's kind of it's just called Leatherface, but the poster states the origin story of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
But we've already got a film called Leatherface because part 3 is literally titled Leatherface.
Yeah.
And then we get the Netflix Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So oh my God, it is. What's next?
I don't know, but just going off, just with all that in mind.
Yeah.
Just think about if they'd gone with the original title of Head Cheese. What would we be looking at?
I mean,
Head Cheese 1974, Head Cheese Part 2, Leatherface, Head Cheese Part 3,
Head Cheese the beginning.
Head Cheese the beginning.
No, but then would you? But then, as they've taken out theirs and massacres,
cheese,
cheese
3D,
cheese 3D.
leather cheese. I don't
cheese, the next generation.
know. I mean, I think that's enough to say that it was certainly a good reason why they changed the title.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a mess of a series, especially from what it's originated from.
Yeah,
absolutely a mess of it. I mean, there's rarely any horror series in the horror genre, funny enough, that have sustained quality over time. There's not many.
No,
I mean that's subjective, but I mean this is.
But I think generally there's a couple of good ones, a dud, and then some absolute trash, and then a guilty pleasure or whatever. I think the main issue is that the first film is its own thing. It was a new venture. It's his own thing, and we've talked about it, and we talked about what we love about it, and the mood and the tone and everything. And then everything after that tried to make a slasher film and tried to put Leatherface front and center.
Yeah,
and I understand why, because it is an iconic villain.
Yeah,
but it is not. The terror in the first one, comes from everybody. It's the whole family. It's the whole family unit.
Completely, yeah.
And trying to raise, one above, and obviously you're going to pick the guy that wears the guy that wields the chainsaw and with the human skin face mask. He's the obvious, poster boy to go for. So I get it, but it becomes something else. Then it becomes generic, schlocky. Horror fodder where you can churn out sequel. Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees type, Freddy Krueger. You could just churn out sequel after sequel after sequel, because as long as you've got the main star of the villain there, it doesn't really matter what's happening around him.
The thing is, in those sequels, Leatherface is really portrayed poorly compared to he's overshadowed. He's outshined by some of the supporting characters. In part 2, he's outshined by Bill Moseley as Chop Top and the cook. Part 3, Aragon. I call him Aragon. Viggo Mortensen. I can't remember what his character is. Part 4, Matthew McConaughey steals the show compared to the Leatherface in that. I don't really remember much of Texas Chainsaw 3D. That's fine.
I can't. No.
But yeah, he's completely they brought him back to try and make him the focal point, but he's completely outshined.
I mean, they made some choices with the role and, his weird pig squeals and dressing as a woman and all the other odd character choices they made for it. But I think generally, tonally, there's just a shift from this sort of creepy family dynamic where because most of the terror and the tension comes from the fact that Sally never escapes. When you think she's safe, she's just dragged straight back to the house because the guy she thought was going to help her out is also a member of this family, and it's.
Well, we're talking about the good film. We're talking about the good film. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that later on in the month, folks. And we've got to talk about this piece of garbage first.
So how do you want to do this? Do you want to give it a bit of a blow by blow? We'll go through the plot as it occurs.
Well, that's a good question. That's a really good question.
Because there's very little Texas Chainsaw Massacre in this.
That's a good question, Aidan. There's very little Texas Chainsaw Massacre in this film.
We've got a lot of California. We've got a lot of natural born killers. I mean, it is natural born killers for a good 3/4 of it.
People need to apologize to Rob Zombie after seeing this film. This film, I made a TikTok about it. I made a TikTok because I'm trying to get hip. I'm trying to get down with the kids and popular and make a living off TikTok. Which you can go find out. It's the Dreadcast clips on TikTok. And I basically made a joke saying, I've seen this film before. I don't really remember it, and I've started watching it again, and I still have no idea what's going on half of this movie, and I'm trying to follow it, and it's up until probably the end of the second act. Let's say till the last half hour, where we're into a Texas Chainsaw Massacre style film, if you will. That rest of it, like you said, is natural born killers, Bonnie and Clyde, Devil's Rejects, villains on the run.
It's villains that aren't the Sawyer family or whatever you want to call them, the Leatherface's crew. It's not.
But
There's an awful attempt at misdirection for who Leatherface is.
Well, that was it. I was like, have I missed something here? Because I know in this shall we say asylum that they're in at the beginning. Their names are changed.
Yeah.
I think I missed that because I'm like, hang on, is that guy meant to be Leatherface? Jedediah, not Jebediah, Jedediah.
Yeah.
And I kept getting confused as to which one was Leatherface.
Yeah.
I thought it was the big husky guy that got shot but seemed to survive being shot because
he got shot, and then
they were going with that mythology of Leatherface can survive or whatever, like Michael can. And we get the even more psycho guy that escaped who likes to just kill, basically.
Yeah, the Mickey character. It's weird. Like I say, I watched this with my partner, and I'd not seen it before. She'd not seen it before, and all the way through, she was convinced that the big lad with the long hair was Leatherface, Bud. Yeah. And I was like, it can't be. He's like, well, obviously, look at him. He's exactly the same as Leatherface. And I was like, but he's not the main character. The film is called Leatherface, and he is a secondary character in this movie. It's absolutely not going to be him. No, it is. It has to be. Look at him. I was like, just wait. I don't know what's going to happen, but just wait. And
for the most part, our main characters are psycho.
Yeah. Who is just a villain of the piece. There's so much that doesn't make sense. So we need to do a little bit of backtracking just to, if you've not seen it, just to sort of.
By the way, folks, we've picked 4 films for October, celebrating 50 years of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah, we should probably tell you that as well.
It's actually right there on the. If you're watching the video, you'll be able to see the big 50. It is 50 years of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Happy birthday to the greatest horror film ever made. So we picked 4 films from the franchise. 2 good, 2 bad, from our opinions. Very bad. So we started off with Leatherface 2017. This is down on the list of the series.
It's a bad one.
It's a bad one. So if you're listening to this to listen for the sake of I've never heard of that one, or I've been thinking about watching that. What do they think? Get ready.
We're going to be ripping this. We're going to be ripping this part.
Because let's do it.
Stupid. Okay, yeah. So just a quick run through of the plot and what happens
of events.
So it opens with the Sawyer family. If it's, I couldn't get anybody's name, but
Jeddah with a D, Jedediah's birthday.
And mother Sawyer, and the 5 brothers, father, grandfather, and just miscellaneous number of other ones. And they've got a chap tied to a chair, and he's accused of stealing pigs or something. And essentially, Mother Sawyer is coercing young Jedediah to cut him up with a chainsaw because this is what we do to thieves. All very wholesome, and straight away it's like giving him the saw, and you're led to think, okay, this is the young Leatherface. This is what happens, and then do we flash forward? Do you get cut? Do you get? Oh, that's it. Yeah, we get a flash forward, and Jedediah is dressed as a pig.
No, you are.
Is it not that
wrong,
bit?
sir. God, this
Go
guy
on.
didn't even watch the film. He didn't even watch it carefully. It's a cow's head. So a young
wow.
girl and gentleman are. This is obviously a prequel. So this is what, 50s, late 50s, probably.
Yeah, it's 55, I think
Yeah.
it says.
Young couple driving down country road, and they drive they're making out while driving. I hate that in films where they're making out while driving, not even looking at the road. And just,
Yeah, but it was the 50s. There was only like 3 cars on the road. Fine.
they had a couple of soda pops, and they were going
They were
to
off to the box social.
the box, the dance, yes. And they swerve, because there's like looks like a cow on the road, but it's actually a young
Pig.
Jedediah with a
Looks
cow.
like a pig.
Go fucking watch that film.
Whatever. Look, some creature in the road.
The kid gets up because they stop. They go, "Whoa, what's going on? What is that?"
Yeah.
Kid gets up with a cow head on. Not weird at all.
No.
The young girl is not freaked out one bit.
No.
Not
This is this is what it is. This film is
Perfectly
full
normal.
of like stupid decisions by characters
Yeah.
that go far beyond the normal level of stupid decisions by people in horror films. So yeah, she pursues this little weird child wearing miscellaneous animal head.
He might need help. He might need help though.
I mean, he clearly needs help.
He
but
clearly
not the kind
needs
that
a
you're
lot of
gonna
help.
give. And and she basically gets trapped in a barn and are trapped in the floor gives way. There's a
It was
spike
all a
trap,
ruse.
and it's a ruse to lure innocent people in for murder. And the sheriff rocks up. It's his daughter, and he's finally got those Sawyers, which is weird in itself because it's kind of portrayed that they're like local criminals.
They're known of.
And which
Yeah.
is a thing that happens, and every people have like the local family that are all a bit iffy, wheeler dealer. But this isn't like just your usual kind of they like to steal cars and sell dodgy goods. They're like obviously already cannibal murderers.
Yes.
But we've never been able to quite pin anything on them, and it's just go in the house because it's.
Just go in. You'll see a lot of evidence.
They're already, exactly like you'd expect. You expect to see a Texas Chainsaw Massacre family house. It's
Bone
exactly like that.
furniture,
Yeah.
animals everywhere. Yeah, the lot.
So they bang Mother Sawyer up in prison, and the kids get taken off into care, and then we jump forward another decade, I think it is.
I just state one thing I noticed. I mean, actually, the sheriff is played by Stephen Dorff.
Dorff,
probably the
yeah.
most well-known actor in this film. He's. Would you
Apart
say this?
from Finn Jones, who plays the deputy, is Loras
Finn
Tyrell from Game of Thrones, which I didn't find out until just before we started recording. All the way through watching it, I was like, why do I recognise that guy? He was Iron Fist in the Marvel series. Or Luke Cage, was he?
He's the character that ends up being a
Iron
traitor to the. He is working for the Sawyers later on in the film.
Yeah.
And then gets fed to pigs. Spoilers. Didn't mind Stephen Dorff's performance, but it's probably because he's more of a mainstream actor. But the way his character has just witnessed found his daughter dead by this family who he hasn't got the proof, but he knows it. They all know it. His emotions just change. He goes from grieving, distraught, to just angry and pissed.
He's
Straight
another
face.
He's another antagonist.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We find out
Later on,
yeah.
he's another antagonist, which
anger leads to suffering.
has its own problems. So so we jump forward another 10 years, and we're at like I don't know what you want to call it, asylum, school,
Yeah, it's an asylum,
hospital for troubled teens, troubled young people, and we're introduced to Elizabeth, a new nurse that's starting there, and she meets a couple of characters who become our main cast essentially for the film. So she has a bit of a run-in with what is his name?
right?
I know.
Right. Okay. You just then.
Ike, Isaac.
You just then going a couple of characters. I don't. This is exactly what I was talking to some other people about regards to the substance. Okay. And I'm not going to mention it as an example. I'm using it as an example because I obviously watched Leatherface this week as well. And I said earlier that I was confused.
I watched this last night.
Yeah. Okay, that's even better. So when I said like I didn't know what was going on in half of this film, The Substance, 3 main actors, and they're only really the 3 main characters in the film. I love an isolated horror or isolated film where the focus is so minimal. It's just on these people. You can really follow what's going on. You're really invested. And this was just, as soon as we got to the asylum, I mean, it might have been something as simple as the color palette. The color grading of the film is very grey, brown, green. Everything was dull. The characters didn't stand out, and I was getting confused.
I mean, they're all wearing like
who.
short hair and hospital gown and dress.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even the staff, like you said, is it Elizabeth? Did you say what her name was?
Elizabeth. Yeah.
Yeah. I was getting. There were other staff. Other women she was talking to. Are they part? Yeah. It was too much going on.
So there is. But we have Lizzie, the nurse. She meets, I don't know if it's the right word, but an inmate called Bud, who's the big lad.
A Roman.
The very, he doesn't talk much, but seems like he does. He's sort of portrayed as being like supposedly like a bit of a gentle giant.
Yeah.
But the film does its damnedest to try and sort of steer you down the path of that's the one that's going to be Leatherface.
He crushed a mouse to death.
Yeah, it's that sort. He's got that sort of vibe. He's got that sort of vibe to him, hasn't he?
Yeah, George.
She's talking to Bud, and Jackson introduced himself. So it's Lizzie, Jackson, and Bud.
Who's Jackson, Aidan?
Who's Jackson? Jackson is
goes to his notes.
The guy. I'm getting to that bit.
Sorry.
I'm going off what they're introduced as.
I'm so
we have
sorry.
Jackson, because I want to just kind of skip things along a little bit.
Please do.
And then the other two main inmates that we meet are Ike, although I was convinced it was Isaac all the way through, but apparently IMDb is telling me it's Ike, and Clarice.
Hello, Clarice.
And I can't even remember how it starts, but there is it kicks off.
There's a riot. There's a breakout.
There's a riot.
I don't remember how it starts. Yeah.
In the process of this riot breaking out, we sort of find out quickly that Ike and Clarice are a couple. They bust out. Bud kills the warden randomly.
Yeah, and doesn't one of the female members of staff who's with Lizzie gets stabbed in the mouth multiple times by someone?
Somebody gets the tongue cut out. I think it might be Ike that does it, actually. There's lots of flashing, flickering lights, and it's very confusing. Lots of people running up and down screaming, all dressed in sort of identical hospital gowns, which, I guess is a kind of good thing. It's certainly confusing. It portrays the manic confusion. But yeah, essentially we end up with all of these, our main cast of characters outside the hospital in a car escaping. Yeah. And we very quickly get this set up where it's clear that Ike is in charge. Yeah. Clarice is, is very much like a Joker Harley Quinn sort of relationship. He's an absolute head case, out for causing chaos and destruction. She's, hot for that and wants to go along with it. Lizzie is a hostage. And Jackson is, a reluctant escapee. He's sort of puts himself in this position of being like Lizzie's protector. Yeah. And then Bud being, the slow bumbling one. He's just sort of along for the ride as well. And that's that. And then there's a big shootout in a diner where Ike and Clarice decide they want to cause some trouble. And there's lots of sort of being on the run, and that's like I said, it comes across very much like, and it is. It's a good chunk of the film, and it's very much Natural Born Killers or California or something like that. Crazy escapees, Devil's Rejects, crazy escapees on the run, causing mayhem and murder along the way. And then we get to that sort of final portion where it suddenly goes, oh crap, we need to we need to tell the story of how Leatherface became Leatherface. Let's do that very quickly.
Yeah.
But there's a moment where the cops, you know, the sheriffs or whatever, they're on the trail, hot on the heels, and Ike gets killed, Clarice gets captured, and the other three are hiding, and Lizzie is hiding.
Yeah.
She goes. She's a victim. Everybody that's chasing these inmates know full well that it's 4 inmates and a hostage, a nurse that was taken hostage. So why is she acting like the cops are going to hurt her or harm her if she reveals herself? She's hiding behind, but it makes absolutely no sense at all.
Does she grow some sort of fondness towards Jackson throughout their first sort of meeting, and he saves her in the riot, and when they escape the prison, Ike is like, get in. He doesn't actually force them. He doesn't force them into the car necessarily, does he? He's like, get in. And I think it's more so when it kicks off at the diner, they're like,
yeah,
you're fucking coming with us now.
Yeah, I think you're right, but she has a perfect opportunity there to say to Jackson, you know, go on. I'm going because moments later, she does. She screams, waving her arms, running at a police officer, and gives away the position, and that's how.
Down by the bridge. There's like
yeah.
Yes.
But it's literally the next scene. So she's like hiding, going, "Oh God, can't let the police find me." And I'm thinking, well, hang on a minute, you're
bothered about that.
A hostage, and then she in the next scene, very next scene, is like more than happy to give her position away. It's very weird, but yeah, as we've said, this is a very big chunk of the film, and we get occasional sort of outbursts of like anger from Jackson, but
he has a very confused attitude. It flip flops a lot,
but it's not. I feel like in some regard, they're trying to. We as an audience know that one of these kids is going to be Leatherface.
Yeah,
they're going to grow up and they're going to become Leatherface, and I feel like the film thinks it's doing a good job of keeping us guessing who it is throughout, but it doesn't. There's like the very obvious red herring of Bud, who has the same sort of build and childlike innocence of Leatherface as we come to know him. Jackson has these like random flare-ups of anger, and then we've got obviously crazy killer Ike. But
how does Ike die again? I can't remember.
I really can't remember.
I feel like Bud kills him.
Bud does. In fact, Bud does kill him.
Curb stomps him, right?
Bud curb stomps him. Yeah.
I'll give it to it. That had some good sound design at that point. That was gross.
I mean,
that was pretty gross.
Just to talk about that sort of stuff, the kills, the gore.
It's a very violent film.
It's good enough. It's very violent in that. Like I say, anything that's got a curb stomp is like another level of violence. Yeah. That's not. It's hardcore in a very different way. If you think cutting somebody up with a chainsaw is violent,
forcing someone to put their mouth.
There's an extra sprinkling of spice in a curb stomp that's particularly harrowing, I think.
I mean, if you've anyone's seen American History X, know
probably the most famous example of it. Happens in The Sopranos as well.
It does.
Tony Soprano does it.
It's a very violent film, and I mean, implied gore as well, like the diner scene with the waitress getting Ike blowing her head off with the shotgun. You don't see it, but you see the gun go off and the blood go.
Some of that's we get a little bit of that sort of cartoony blood, sort of gouts coming from off screen, like there's some blood. But yeah, generally speaking, it's right. It's just very. It's a weird like runaway psycho killer road movie, not a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. And then very, very quickly at the end, they've got to shoehorn all these bits and pieces in.
Which felt very referential to the original. Like they were very subtle references. Like that, the house layout is very similar. As you're, let's say, looking to the entrance, so you're going through the door. The stairs are up on your right. You've got a room to your right, the main living room to your left, and then going through the living room, you've got the dining room, which was the room where Sally was tied up having dinner with the family, and then behind that is the kitchen. So all that kind of laid out quite nicely, which I like. And when you actually look at the house from the outside, it looks the same. I like that. They tried to do.
I mean, it would be the same. It would be the same house, wouldn't it? Supposedly.
It would be, but
It's
there's
not.
continuity sometimes in films doesn't work that well. We get a chase through the woods with the chainsaw.
We
get that.
We get that sort of end bit where it's
We get there was another one I wrote down that was kind of similar. I can't find it now. But yeah, they felt like they were trying to get. You remember this part? You remember this?
We don't quite get a dinner table scene, but
no.
There's. I thought we were. I thought we were going to hit every beat. Early on, we do get a bum shot with the walking up to the house.
We do. One of my favourite shots of when Pam is walking up to the house in the original. That is such a good shot in the original. But we'll talk about. Wow, God, I want to talk about that now.
So what was I going to say? Oh, actually, just to backtrack a little bit, because this is another absolutely ludicrous moment.
Oh, I thought we were finished. Okay, never mind.
No. So we've got. How did 3 of them fit in that cow carcass to hide?
Yeah. I mean,
cows are big, but they're not that big.
And I thought they smelled bad on the outside.
Yeah, we have an Empire Strikes Back moment.
Yeah, they are covered in that cow's blood as well when they.
So yeah,
but they don't even try to wash it off.
No, they don't, and so that just adds to this extra like confusion. So I was going mad watching this like that segment because I was like, she's a hostage. Why is she hiding? Why is she hiding? And it's like and then it's like, why is she on the run now? And she looks like she's one of them now because she's absolutely drenched head to. She could just go to the cops and tell them anything. Like, oh, I ran away from them days ago. I've just been lost. She could say anything. Anyway, yeah, 3 of them apparently hide in a pig carcass, and Bud's not small. He's
huge.
He's a huge guy. So,
because at this point as well, Ike is dead. I believe
Ike is dead. Clarice is dead.
Clarice is just
been killed.
They
just been killed
as she's being captured by Stephen Dorff, the sheriff, and the police, and either she leads them back to, or she's captured by this trailer that they've slept in. It's like abandoned trailer home. And she just pisses him off entirely to the point of he just blasts her in the face. She's gone. His anger, just he cannot withhold his anger anymore.
And the rest of them witness this, and they're like, which it's a cop killing a prisoner in cold blood. It's
and what's mad?
It's not a cool move, but
she's had nothing to do with the past actions of his daughter being killed.
No,
because Ike was not a Sawyer. She's not a Sawyer. They probably don't even know who the Sawyers are.
No.
They have no affiliation with it. They've just, they killed a few people on the escape of the riot, whatever. Okay,
but it's this point Jackson lets reveal that, like, he's bad news. He's bad news.
Yes.
And then he does become an antagonist for the rest of the film.
Yeah.
He's the bad guy that they're trying to get away from.
Because when she's screaming for help, police car hears her. They go up to it. I can't remember. The kerfuffle starts. The policeman shoots and kills Bud. That sets off. That literally.
That's the trigger. The straw that breaks the camel's back. Yeah,
there's a trigger for Jackson / Jedediah.
Yes.
That's
when we
absolutely pulverizes said policeman. I believe with the door, the policeman's car door.
Oh, he beats him with his fists. And then he drags him over to the car door. Yeah.
And is
absolutely goes to town on him.
Absolutely losing his mind in the car. As Lizzie is driving them away.
Yeah.
As the hostage.
Yeah. It's a complete Stockholm syndrome's like in full effect now.
Yeah.
At which point, it's Sheriff Hartman, isn't it? Hal Hartman.
That's it. Hart. Yeah.
He's giving chase. He's shooting, and Jackson gets hit with a bullet that sort of, tears through his cheek or the lower half of his face, splits his jaw or whatever.
Oh my God, he's going to have to wear some sort of mask to cover up that disfigurement.
That's a disfigurement that's
Wait a minute.
that you're probably going to want to hide away.
Wait a minute. Who wears a mask in this series?
Possibly of a material derived from animal hide of some kind.
Even though that,
we are half an hour from the end of the film at this point, and it's like now where they go, oh crap, we forgot
what were we doing?
We weren't making natural born killers.
What were we doing again?
Quick, Leatherface stuff. So
get him a Vader mask.
And it's just such a complete turnaround for Jackson, who I suppose we should mention, like right in that opening scene where he's being goaded into cutting this prisoner with the chainsaw.
Yeah.
He's very reluctant. He's a very he doesn't want to be involved in the family's activities. And there's a couple of points throughout the film where they mention like where they're going to run to in Mexico, and maybe you could swing by your mama's house, and he's like all quiet, like, oh, I don't want to go and see my family. And then the second he does get back to his mother's house, he's fine with it. He's absolutely fine. He's back in the fold. She stitches him up, sticks a Mankind-esque leather belt. It is
all the points for you there, sir, with the Mankind reference. I would like to also throw in another reference related to like that.
Go on.
I would like to put Vader's mask in. Do you know? Have you heard of Vader?
Oh,
Big Van Vader from the early 90s, late 80s. Let's look at this guy.
I do remember.
There he is. Look at this boy. God rest his soul. Love Vader. Best big man ever in wrestling.
Yes.
Look at that mask. But it is. It's like that with the shackles, and it looks really horrible trying to put it on.
It looks really horrible trying to put it on. I can't work out what it is, like what it's supposed to be.
Leatherface
like
mask.
It's I don't know. Is it some sort of like bridle or something like that? Where you know what I mean? I can't look at You can look at like Jason Voorhees' mask and go, well, it's a hockey mask, and he wears a hockey mask. Leatherface is the usual sort of mask, is human
skin,
human face. This is like it's weird. Mankind, the wrestler Mankind's mask is
Mankind is the best one. Yeah,
but it's like his mother. She stitches him up and then just pulls this contraption out, and it's like possibly from a shoebox under a bed. I don't know quite.
It's the best image I can quickly find.
Where it's come from.
Just have a look at the same image I'm looking at. Can you see that?
Yeah, I can see that. Again, it's really not.
I mean, I wonder if it is just some leather stitched together.
It's like
we're really going for Leatherface, because the fact is,
a belt and some string. It's just a bit of a weird.
And the fact is, the character Leatherface, his mask isn't. It's human skin.
Yeah.
It's not. It's just a term. It's just what he's. It's just what they called. That's what they called him. I mean, that's what they called him in the original film. I think it's the hitchhiker. He's the first to reference "Get a Leatherface." That's just what he's known by. He's not named. He's not called Thomas Sawyer. He's not called Thomas Hewitt. Like he gets called in the later films, and it's it's clearly in the early film. You can see you can tell it's skin. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
It's rotten, dry, crispy skin.
Yeah.
That looks like leather work, straps of leather with buckles.
That's a belt.
Yeah.
It's entirely that.
But
and she says, "Oh, this is going to hold it all." And then she brings him a chainsaw, and off he goes chasing Lizzie. And it is literally just like,
yeah,
oh yeah, his mind's gone now. His mind's gone now. It's fine. And they give him this sort of like weird Jason Voorhees-esque mummy issues.
He's got mummy issues.
He's not seen his mother. He wasn't that keen on her sort of like lifestyle and way of running the family to begin with. He's spent 20 years estranged from her and actively kept out of her way. And then, all right, there's been a bit of trauma there, but he immediately is just like, yes, Mom, give me the chainsaw, and off I go. I'm Leatherface now.
Do you remember how they get back to the house?
Just run in a circle, I guess.
No, sorry. I mean, from when Lizzie and Jackson / Jedediah are. It's just down to them two, and he's been shot, and they're in the car. Do they just drive to the house?
The car crashes, though, doesn't it? But does it crash just conveniently nearby? I don't know. It was another sort of. I did, but you know.
Because you made a good point. Like, it's been however long, like 20 years, how long? 10, 20 years? And there's no sort of Jedediah, oh my god, like we missed you, we love, like no big, it's him. It's just yep.
Well, we did get a scene earlier where she's got some sort of court injunction to get them back, and the governor, the warden, like denies it. But yeah, it's odd, and like I say, it very much feels like crap. We need to wrap this up.
Big time.
His mind snapped. He is just Leatherface now. Just accept it, and that's what they do. And it's like, right, he goes running around with the chainsaw, and yeah, it's a stretch for us to just sort of accept that his mother's influence at the end of the film is enough to just turn him into. It's just very weak. It's just very weak. The beginning. Origin is a lot better, I think.
Oh, from the remake timeline.
The remake.
Yes, completely. Because I think because that for me is because of the fact we have the same family as the remake film, obviously made to look a bit younger because it's a prequel.
Yeah.
If they're really going on the fact that this is a prequel origin story to the original film. Then make an effort to have obviously it's 40 years ago, probably close to 40 when this was done. You're not going to get the same actors. They're all dead or perfect. Have an actor portray the cook. Have an actor portray the hitchhiker. Have an actor portray a younger grandpa, which they do.
They do have a younger grandpa. I feel like, I don't know, there was a hitchhiker in there, but
I thought that too, but it's not noted, it's not named.
It's not sort of explicit enough for it to be that's who that is.
Like, have it kind of fit in, like, so we know, okay, this is what's going to lead into our original film. It just feels like some random Midwest hick family.
And it's not. The other thing as well is it's not Leatherface. If we're supposed to believe that he goes on to be the Leatherface from '74, he's not the same person. The Leatherface from '74 is, learning impaired, childlike innocence.
Very much so. Very much so.
Child mind in an adult body. Jackson is a very articulate, smart young man.
Yes.
Up until who has some anger issues and a scar on his face by the end. Like, all right, you might say, okay, his mind's, even if you want to go the full stretch and go, his mind's fully snapped. Okay, it has, but he's not. He's not mentally deficient.
Not mentally challenged at all.
Yeah.
No. And I mean, you get that just even by like one or two scenes in the original where you've got like, Leatherface. Who does he knock out? knocks out Kirk, I think, and it's such great emotion with he's panicking. He doesn't know what to do, and he's sitting there, and then the camera zooms into his face, and you can see his disheveled like mouth, his crooked teeth, and he's kind of questioning what he's doing, and just that subtle emotion, you can tell it's not quite there. It's not quite all there. And even later on, where he's dressed up, like he's got blusher on, he's a bit more feminine looking, the way he acts, it's so subtle and simple. And here, he's just a psychopath.
Yeah. And it all happens too quickly. We don't get that build up. Like I said earlier, I think there's an attempt to try and have this sort of like, oh, who's it going to be? But we're just not really given enough. There's no reason for it to be Jackson other than this sort of all very convenient, like, trickle of events at the end when they realised that they've run out of time and not actually got anywhere with the Leatherface origins bit.
Yeah.
It's very weird and mixed up.
What I was thinking you could have done is you have Bud as young Leatherface. That's who he's going to be. Get rid of Ike, get rid of Clarice, get rid of Jackson. Spend more time in the asylum and have a bond grow between Bud and Lizzie. A bit of a bond, 3 months later, she's helping him do something. She's helping him write a card or something. You then have the riot break out, and Ike and Clarice are causing mayhem. Bud, Lizzie's about to be attacked. Bud saves her. They escape, and they go on a little adventure. We start to learn over the process, though, Bud is still not all with it. He's still a bit mentally challenged, and has, like we said earlier, a bit of Lenny from Of Mice and Men with him. Yeah. Simpleton. They wander off together. We come by a, let's say, who would have a chainsaw? Like a farmer. Complication with a farmer. Farmer's a very angry man. Very big complication. Go to the barn. There's a chainsaw. The chainsaw somehow gets used in the altercation, and he likes it. He likes it. He feels good. He keeps it with him wherever they go. Just something like that. Like you build on it, so you're not waiting till the end.
Yeah, they definitely shouldn't wait till the end. I think the best way to do it though is a product of his family. Yeah, he's a product of his family, and the family are cannibals.
Yeah,
for whatever reason, because I think the reason for it's usually just famine in the area, isn't it? And they did what they had to do to survive, and it was sort of a last ditch. I don't know if that version has changed. Version of events has changed. I don't know if it's that comes from the 74 one. I think that comes from the beginning or one of the later ones. But there is a story that the reason why the Sawyers turned to cannibalism is because the poverty, basically. They've got no other option. But to take Leatherface away from the family and then have him become Leatherface just doesn't work. It doesn't work. He's a product of being in that family, being raised in that environment. So what they should have done is kept him as a young boy with the opening and his mother trying to coerce him. And then we just have a series of events of him growing up and becoming more and more ingrained and indoctrinated into the life that the family are living. Yeah, you could give us a reason as to why they're living like that, because they're just insane criminals or whatever. But that's what it is. This is just... He went crazy and now he's a chainsaw guy. Because he's back with the family. But, he's a product of his family, is what I'm saying. And that's the origin that we need to see. And we do not get this. This shouldn't be Leatherface. It shouldn't be anything to do with Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's 90% of a road movie about escaped criminals.
One thing I've just found actually, and it's probably should have found it earlier. Done our research. We don't do research here. We just discuss. We just discussion and talk. We're discussioneers.
We do the talking about the films,
and then we realise what we've missed later on. Bloody disgusting. An article that I found about every character in Leatherface who connects to a previous Chainsaw film. Apparently, the couple at the beginning, the guy is Ted Hardesty.
Oh, as in the grandfather that Sally's on the grave that's been desecrated that they're on their way to visit.
Ted Hardesty is Sally's dad.
Oh, Sally's dad, okay.
There's a later scene that went into it, but it was cut for budget reasons. I don't know if we ever had. This is quote from the writer of the film. I don't know if we ever hear Ted's last name in the movie as it is, but he's there briefly. I mean, Grandpa Hardesty's farm was in walking distances of the Sawyers, which is kind of related. We have Grandpa Sawyer, which we alluded to earlier. You see him in the rocking chair. The two older brothers are actually Drayton, aka the cook, and Nubbins, aka Hitchhiker. Wait, hang on a minute. His name Nubbins, who is the same character known as Hitchhiker in the original. Yeah. So Drayton, referred to as the cook and old man. In the original film, we learned that Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 that Leatherface's older brother is named Drayton Sawyer. Yeah, we learned that in the second one. He's called Drayton. Yes, the memorable character was played by Jim Sydal in the first two films, with Bill Moseley taking over the role in the brief appearance in Texas Chainsaw 3D. I do not remember that.
No.
Drayton is back in Leatherface. The problem is these two brothers look exactly the same in this film. They got the long hair down to the shoulders. They're pretty tall. They're pretty hench. They're not unique like in the original. They're so unique.
Yeah. Oh, they are. They are.
And then we get Nubbins. Another thing that Leatherface takes from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 is the name Nubbins, who is, of course, the same character known as Hitchhiker in the original. We catch up with Nubbins in two different points in the film. First, 1955 as a child, and then 65 played by Dejan Angelov. So he's kind of like a background character. He's not really focus. And then Verna Sawyer, the mum, is a link back to Texas Chainsaw 3D again. And yeah, that's about it. So, okay, so there are a couple of links there, but even so, they're not solid. Which
we did sort of assume was the case, but it's so they're very small little parts, and it's
very
maybe
loose.
That could be. I guess the one that stands out the most is Grandpa, because I think he kills someone with a hammer as well. We see him bash somebody with a hammer.
Yes, when he's a bit more mobile at the beginning, he kills the guy that they're accusing of stealing
the pigs.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's quite obviously the grandfather, but yeah, the rest of them, I guess you've just got to assume, but yeah, I don't know. Bud was an extra one, I guess. It's rubbish, isn't it? It
is rubbish. The end of the film, obviously, how our sheriff Hartman, we get the chainsaw death, which is still one more on-screen chainsaw death than we got in the original. I mean, Franklin gets it, but it's very quick.
Yeah.
This Dorf gets his hands chopped off, and then he gets completely cut up the inside with a chainsaw. How does it end with Lizzie? Does Lizzie escapes?
God, I can't remember.
Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Probably she does.
Let me. What we got here? I've got the old wiki in. The film ends with him smashing the mirror. Oh, that's it. We cut. The ending is him. He's sewing together.
That's it. We get. Yeah. Oh, that's it. Yeah, we get a scene sewing together a face, and I assumed that was Lizzie, because I don't. Maybe she doesn't escape.
Oh, she doesn't. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Elizabeth attempts to appeal to Jedediah's sympathy while Werner encourages him to kill her to protect the family.
That's it.
That's it. She gets her head chopped right off.
That's what I said, yeah. And it's a stretch that he just goes, "Oh, yes, mother," and cuts her. And then we get this final scene of him. yeah, he's
stitching together. Yeah.
stitching together I guess his first human skin mask. And
Why he's doing that, but yeah.
because I assumed it was Lizzie's face he was using.
And they feed the bodies to the remaining pigs.
I know those pigs have a taste for human meat, which you know,
No, Bricktop's pigs.
I believe. Yeah, I've seen Snatch. I know how it works.
They go through bone like butter.
What they don't do though is attack and eat living humans.
Oh, the policeman.
The policeman gets like chomped up like these pigs are ravenous wolves.
Yeah.
Like they smell the blood and they go for him. But that's, you know, the least of this film's issues. 3 people in a cow, man. How does that work?
Yeah, that really bothered you, didn't it? That really bothered you.
Lots of it bothered me. It's my last note is bag of wank.
What a way to end it, folks. Bag of wank. It's a completely disappointing film. Like I said, this whole series has been, I would say, up and down, but for the most part, it's been down.
I mean, it has ups and downs anyway. But this is the bottom. I think this is
way at the bottom. This, like I said, we at the beginning of the lifetime of this show, we did look at the Netflix Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and that was bad.
I mean, that is bad.
That is bad.
But I'd say this is worse. And it's a stretch to sort of put a pecking order in there. But this is worse because there is very little Texas Chainsaw in this massacre.
Agreed.
This is far too removed from the world of TCM.
For
Whereas
most of the film.
Yeah, for most of the film. At least the Netflix one does its hardest to try and you know knit the two together. I don't think I've got anything else left to say about old Leatherface for now.
No, I think we'll have more to say about the next films we'll discuss in this month. I know I certainly will. It's. I'm glad we started with this one.
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend it. You don't need to see it. You just, I mean,
no, you really don't. If you're a completionist for the franchise,
tick it off.
Then tick it off. But don't say we didn't warn you.
No. Just go watch Devil's Rejects if you want a film like this.
Yeah. There's films that do. There's films that do this better than this does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So yeah, okay. That's Leatherface 2017, the first of our celebration here. I get some party poppers next time for our 50 years of the greatest horror film ever made, in my opinion, but subjective. Texas Chainsaw Massacre month. I missed it. It was October 1st was the actual birthday, so I put a belated post out for that.
Well, we're not far off.
Not far off, no. We're like an estranged dad who's missed the birthday of his child. I'll get there anyway soon, son. So yeah, that's Leatherface. Next time, we're gonna go back up the mountain. We'll do good, bad.
We did, but I can't remember what we said.
Remake. 2003 remake.
We started with the more modern ones. Yeah. The 2003.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kind of the film that kicked off that era of horror, big horror remakes.
Yeah, I think it was. And I think we've discussed it before. I think we're both keen on this as
a big fan of it. As
a remake. It's good.
I certainly have double the amount of notes on that than I did on this film. So look forward to discussing that. So until next time, we'll be doing Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake. Check us out on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, YouTube, Samsung, iHeartRadio, Podbean. I'm trying to get it on Stitcher. I think that's about it. By searching The Dreadcast and on all the socials, TikTok, X, and Instagram by searching The Dreadcast. I do believe that is it.
Until next time then,
Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.